Sitini Yuhan Gonalchish Hat Yi Adi Ya Yagi Hat Uagut Kinkadanik Lingit Einach Kinkadanik Yuduasag Laikach Einach Paul Marks Yuduasag Shukach Adinach City Ye Hitdach Chukane Dia Dioa Juno Yati. Hey everybody, thank you for coming here today. Our guest speaker is Kinka Denik, that's his name in Tlingit. In English, he's called Paul Marks. He's Lukach Adi from Yeshit or Raven House. He is child of the Chukanedi and lives in Juneau. Ayechakwe, Kinka Denik.
Allah Gonalchish.
Um, and So Kinkar Danik is here to talk with us today. He's a wealth of knowledge. He's going to share with us. We started talking a little bit at the end of class yesterday about At'u, just so folks would start thinking about it. And we look forward to hearing what you have to share. And whenever you're ready, Kinkar Danik, you can take it away.
Okay, so Jadechanom ya computer dot kliskadin dot hosikucha.
Oh, that's awesome.
I gotta go back where it's kukte kodakutha.
Okay.
Start all over. Here we go. Way do we on? Aten Gonalchisha ya gicha. Ikewe yin kokosla atra. It is a good day today. It's a good time to speak with you, with all of you. Yewe, kosia isaku ya atu yewu tu asaha. Maybe you know some things about atu, but and so I believe there's a lot of things, Yaha Tlingit, Chalco Tlingit city, those that were in the past. I'll say Ashuka. Many of you probably read this or know this book. I've heard the people make an interpretation of the word, and it depends on how you're using the word. It means different things, like Ashuka, the one ahead, or so this, when we're using it as our ancestors, Hashuka'a, Yaha Shishkohas, that would be in reference to those that were ahead of us. Like my sister Nora, she was ahead of us. But she's still my Shukha because now she's behind us. That's what we're talking about. And that's what this book is all about. All the people who lived and was recorded in this and then transcribed in the Tlingit language, and then translated into English. They were Hashukha, they were ahead of us. They were born ahead of us. Now they're behind us. It's like we're ahead of our children, and then someday we'll be behind them because the word will pass away and then they'll continue on. And so some of the interpretations, and it depends, like I said, it depends on what you're using it for and how you're using it. like Yanshuka. That could be, I believe it's maybe, surely if I make a mistake, you can help me.
Uh,
Yeah, Yanshuka is like a camp, like Yekwa.
yeah, well,
See, so it's not like just because it has the shuka, same as maybe it is different, spelled different. Sometimes I make a mistake in this yun shuka. It sounds the same.
yeah,
So that's in reference to a camping area when you're wherever you're camping. So I just wanted to make that clear. And ooh, this is something that was purchased. It could have been purchased by life, like maybe a bear took a person's life. And so when we take the image of that bear, we take its life and spirit, and so it becomes ours. Once we put the image on our blanket or whatever we may put it on, that becomes ownership. And so this is how Atu is turned into history. And Atu is reference to celestial, like the Milky Way, Dipper, Moon, Sun. These are all Atu to our people, like the Shungu KD. They have the sun story about when the seven boys were let down from the sun. That's their history. That's what they own. So you can't just take it and use it any way you want to. And so we look at I'm not sure how the rain screen in Connacht, but it's in reference to the rain. I'm thinking. So rain is something. It's a noun in itself, and it's its own entity. So whenever our people created an image, that's the beginnings of the ownership. And many times to gain that understanding to our other relatives who may be on the other side of our clan, I'm trying to use words that are not anthropological terms. Like when we say opposite, uh, those are anthropological terms, just like eagle and raven. Those are anthropological terms. I suppose they figured out when they had clan, they would see the clans and how they reference themselves, which side they were on. And so they made him because there was some of the raven at ooh, and some of their images had a raven. So I suppose then their big bright eyes, bright ideas are going to change it. They're going to try to help others to comprehend it. But we knew intuitively who was the opposite of ourselves. Just like on the opposite side, like my father's side, Chukanedi. Some of those don't have an eagle in their clan at U. It's like Yanyedi. They don't use a clan. They don't use eagle in their clan, but they're going to call them opposite from raven. And so I guess in the sense why I share this is because it makes it easy for our children. Oh, what clan are you? I'm Raven. So all our kids are either what clan? I'm Eagle. So now they're just Eagle and Raven. But what house did they come from? Because each house has a clan emblem, like Saskhan Hit. Tukhit is the same house, Mount Fairweather House. They got a big screen to depict their house. But you don't see a raven in there, but they do have raven in there. And so now our kids are all easy. Oh, I'm an eagle. What kind of eagle? What's the main emblem of your clan house? Like Tucktaintown, they got Kit, water marked, freshwater marked sockeye salmon house. Because once it hits, the sockeye hits the river, it turns red. So that's their emblem, that house. And then some of them come from Hichchihit Frog House. So that's their house. That's where they come from. Let's go into my house, our house, Sukhachadi. We have a sockeye house too, Hit sockeye house, red sockeye. Hit two-door house. And we use a double-headed raven to identify that house. Then we have Hit Raven House. So there's a raven there. That's why I've got the raven hat to depict that. But in reality, you may ask the question, why do we use the raven when the raven is the creator? These ravens, what they in the modern times in college graduate or educated Lingits will call raven the trickster or the create or whatever they want to call him, but they don't realize this raven was a human being. It wasn't a bird. There was some shape shifting. My sister talks about shape shifting and talks about metaphors, but he was in the beginning when he got the stars, the moon, the sun, and the daylight. He was born from a young lady, and he grew up as a boy, as a child, because when he was a child, they asked each other, what are we going to name this young child? They probably mulled over it here and there, and then one said, we're going to call him Raven. So this child is called Raven. He's the one that cried for the boxes to open up to let the stars and then the moon and then the daylight. 4 boxes. There's one more box. He took the 4th box. He took it out of the house. Most people will believe that when they let the sun out, that's when the daylight came, because they refer, the sunlight or the sun as being daylight. But I'll ask you college graduates, if you are, is the daylight, is that a personal, or is that a noun in itself? Sun, is that a noun in itself? Yes, those are 2 different words and they mean 2 different things. When Austin told a story, he said when the stars came out and the moon, he said they just hang there and the sun went out. And that's when the sun probably came behind the moon, and that's where the eclipse is, right? It's dark. It's when he took the 3rd, 4th box out of the house at daylight. And this story is in this book in the back. A.P. Johnson talks about it. So I'm not just blowing it, in the wind. It's very important to me that we understand how we as a people explained our history. Like we look at the Raven stories. Now they turned it into the Raven Reads, which is the bird is doing all this crazy stuff. In my own mind, I'm a Tlingit. I don't think we would try to make that bird do certain things. He was a human being. He was a deity. Some people don't want to talk about that and name it that, but that's is a creator. So if you want to know about it, read about it in this book, A.P. Johnson, Kikseti. Then there's another recording I'm listening to, and this man's talking about the raven. And he talks about when the raven went out into the ocean on a canoe, and he ran into his what's the kayakau. Wait, how do you say friend in Tlingit? Like kayakau.
Partner.
Yeah, kayakau. And so when he ran into him, he they got in an argument. Make a short story. They got in an argument, and talks about how they both went ashore and started planting a lot of the vegetation on Earth, and the raven was skipping rocks, and he skipped them way out there, and that's where the Aleutian chain came from. But how is a bird going to skip rocks? And you can answer that to me if he can do that. But so, and when he finished, because they argued with each other, the raven asked, when were you born? He said, oh, I was born before primitive tools were made. You're just a young boy, and he kind of chuckled. So he's teasing him. And his Yakao got angry, upset with it. And that's when he pulled his hat out and it got all foggy. The raven got scared. He was shaking the boat with him. And he says, oh, you're older than me. And to make a long story shorter, is that he forgave him. But the raven kept on saying, for saying what I said. He said, forgive me for what I said. That's enough now. We've got a lot of work to do. But that elder said, this story, the way that my mother told me, she said, that's our history. That's how long we've been here. See? Some people say, oh, we've been here 10,000 years. No, we've been here, now they're saying 17,000 years. But in the story, it says that we were here when the raven created us. It's created. How many years ago is that? There's a different stories, like but anyway, that raven stories are the raven clans that belongs to the ravens. It's just like Guna Kadate. That's an eagle story. I'm using anthropological terms because that's what we've been brainwashed to do. And so the woman marrying the bear, that's an eagle story. The killer whale story, Nazi Tlané, that's an eagle story. That's their history. Their history. You can't change somebody else's history. And where this goes, I don't know where it'll go. Some people don't like it because it throws a wrench in some of what they believed or what they think was the way things were. I'm a Tlingit, and I will study, and I will read, and I will listen to the tapes. And when you don't understand Tlingit, then it's very difficult to know exactly what's being said. There's some things that I see is not really translated properly either. They might say, oh, you're too young to know. How do they know? I was speaking Tlingit before I spoke English. I had to learn how to speak English. So there's a lot of Tlingit being in my brain that comes to mind because your brain is very powerful. That's what my grandpa David would say. Iyakujige, ituyeyeti, hakoste. You are a very intelligent human being. Our history is in you. So I got some things here. A rattle. We didn't use them just carelessly while we used them. We had a purpose of why we used them. Now some things that are happening is for show. Our songs are atu, that's our atu. We hear our different songs being sung, but and they don't even ask us, oh, it's just a trade song. Well, we paid for those songs so that we can have them. And so our Kanana songs, we paid for that. It's not just a trade song. You can say that, well, we paid for it in order to sing it, to be given to us from the Kanana. You might ask the question, what is Kanana? Does that mean that's the Baskin? How about, you know how words kind of change when they're used for different reasons? We could call it Kud na Sah. It's a different nation. See? Just like each clan is a nation within itself. So it's a Kuta na, Kunda na, is something that. And so I wish I could be there in person to share many things that I feel is important. That okay, this is a raven on there, which if we were in long days gone by, they would know. He's from Raven House because you got the raven. And my belief is that the Raven House comes from, it's called the creator. That's the raven. That's the house we come from. That was the first house we had. Then we had my father's house was a sun hit. And then there's a place up there in Haines, it's called Sun On, which is so Sun Shah Mount, which is I think is Mount Rapinski in Haines. And then we own or we claim Shah in Wrangell. That's one of our Clanat U. That's who we were at the beginning. What were we called? That's not it either. Anyway, our clan name was a different name when we were living there. But that's where we came from. We still claim some areas there. Wrangell Narrows. Berners Bay, not Berners Bay, Tlaquah. There's a place named Tlaquah up there in by Wrangell area, Narrows. Before you get into the Narrows, there's a Tlaquah. That's where we came from. That's the name we gave. When we went up to Tlaquah, we sat out there when we were moving out of our home area. We waited on the shoreline. And when they called us in, then they first asked, Gudaksoe, what, Johan? Gudaksoe, where are you guys from? And Clan leader yelled out, Tlakwak Takawan, we're from Tlakwak. Yan Yaku, bring your boats ashore. So we brought the boats ashore, and the clan leader went to the other clan leader. Go ducks away, Johan. Tlakwak, Dakuhan, we are from Tlakwak. You duck away. You wake up to Shaku, Tlakwak, Ati, Iksati. From this time on, you will be named Tlakwak. See, so that's our history, where we came from. That's Atu. Atu, I have Tlakwak. And I apologize for not knowing the other names. I should know the names, but sometimes when you get excited, your brain just kind of misses some things. Okay. Yata. Listen here. Achunt o Atiaya. This is my older brother's Achkak. It's like Achkak, my mother's brother, my uncle. He had this commissioned, and it represents Tashkonuskosha, Double Sum Mountain up there in Wrangell, in the Stikine River. You may have seen that mountain before in somebody. But if you look up Double Sum Mountain, it'll show you where it's at. Google knows everything, you know. He's more smarter than me. But anyway, so this is where that came from. I got a drum here. The design was created by my son Elijah, and he heard the story I told, and so he designed a emblem to represent that story. This is our history in this story. Up in Haines, up there by where the tank farm used to be, there was two rocks facing each other. It looked like two men, and had the blankets around their shoulders, looking at each other, probably real close. And we called it Ushtokan Ka, two men arguing. So this year, one wing is a man, the other one is a man. This year could represent the creator, Ashagenya. That's what we always put inside of our artwork is Hashigenya, the spirit. I heard someone in Klakwan told us this ovoid in there represents Hashigenya. But a lot of our artwork, like the rattle, has like a spirit. Some of the spirit is like in like this raven, double-headed raven. You see in the middle there is a spirit. You see the eyes in there, that's a spirit. Could be the spirit of the design. And then the spirit of the creator is in there. These items is not only just our history, but when we bring them out at a kuik, and that's pretty much the only time you would use these, our atu. They used to keep it in boxes, never let nobody see it. It was, if you were somewhere to show you it, you would bring out money and give it to the person who's showing you, honoring to be able to see it. Might be their grandparents. Our people have really believed what they were taught. Today, they're just stories. We lost a lot of our value of who we are as a people. It is so sad. I could imagine how sad it was for those who really understood what was happening, but they never said nothing. Sometimes the reason why they didn't say anything is because of the respect they had for the individuals, because they didn't want to hurt their feelings, didn't want them to feel ashamed for not knowing it properly. A lot of reasons I could think of why our ancestors or our grandparents or parents never said nothing. And so we have, if you were to look at Ha'ani, you can see all the different places that are people marked and have a name on it. That's our history. That's our history. Our ooh is our history. Our names are our history. Different things that, that relates to telling, and they're not just telling a story. It's not fairy tales. These aren't made up stories. This is something they believe that really happened. It was an event that they recorded in their brains, or they put it in totemic, what we call now totemic designs. And so songs, you see our young people now. I was taught that you want to put on the chill cap you don't wear that. We're going to sing interior songs. So you don't wear a chilkat blanket or headdress or a hat. But when you do our songs, like we have chilkat songs, chilkat dances, then we put on the blankets. Or when we have love songs for our father's people, we use a blanket sometimes, but I suppose you could use tunics at that time, but not sure, but because I wasn't there. And so there was, you can't just, it's for me when I see them singing Gunana songs, when I see somebody wearing a blanket or a chilkat blanket or headdress or a hat, it's out of place for me. It's not a time to put those on. Because let's say my uncle Paul, he's got a son, Larry Jackson, but my dad is gone now, but Larry is still alive. And I put on, and to help him in his grief, I could someone have put this on for me. And I'd call Larry. Because I'm wearing this now, which belonged to your dad, I'm wearing it now. And also I took his name, Kachtlein. So it would be it's as if your very image of your father walked out in front of you to comfort you, to strengthen you. Because when we remember our past relatives, we know they did things for us. They comforted us when we were in sorrow. And so they gain strength from it. It gains comfort. And that's what Austin said with the Atu. That's our comforter. It's not just for show. We don't just bring it out, oh, I'm going to dance hard. I'm going to bend my knees way down. You dance for your father's people. A lot of the songs, love songs, they sang and composed for maybe their father, maybe their auntie, maybe their uncle, their father's brother, He composed a song, like my father's brother composed a song for my brother Johnny. He can't, and then you want to use that song just for entertainment. Well, that was a song, a love song composed because his father missed him and he thought he was in the Vietnam War, but he was in Germany. But he waited a long time and he was lonesome for him. So he composed that song. So that is our atu. That belongs to us. It belongs to my father's people. But when they bring it out and they can sing it and make a reference to us so that we could gain strength from it and comfort. And so I expose the Kunana songs or a song for happy times. But we do have happy songs too. Things that we celebrate. I got a vest here too, which was my uncle's. But I made a new one. But I took off the raven in the back and two ravens in the front. And then there's you can see this, it's a flower. And that's represents 4 seasons, this flower. Whenever we took things and put them on ourselves, that was to give us power, that we honored that particular plant or particular thing and by doing that honor to it, that gave us strength, spiritual strength. It's kind of like, I suppose, in relation to people putting on tattoos all over their body now. I don't think it's just to put a tattoo on there. I think it represents some kind of power or strength for them. Some of them will put their child's image on them. Some will put their dad's image on their shoulder because they want to honor their father. And then whenever they go anywhere, they'll have that inner confidence that their father's with them or their child is with them. That's similar to our ooh. That's the only way I can try to explain it and try to hopefully bring it a little more clarity and understanding that. I wish I could have come in a more and be able to show in a more detail and more visual. I think the Zoom is kind of takes away some of that, but hopefully how I explain it is understandable. And if it is so, you can say or say tag. Can't hear you.
Ah,
Oh, you can't cheese. Yeah, well, me and Kochwanikra. Chadechano, Kaktakwai, but yeah. That is it, and what I've shared with you, and hopefully I did not say anything to harm or to hurt anyone. If you have any questions, comments,
Okay. That was really good. Thank you so much for sharing with us and just echoing to the class. Does anybody have questions or comments they want to share back with Kinkadani?
George.
hello. Wasaieti.
Yakecha,
Chaka.
Kunuchish.
Chaka gonna cheese kai at Latu at Wusku.
Okay.
Yeah, Yakayach Satini, my dad's friend.
Mm.
I wanted to say thank you to you and thank you to the teachers for teaching us what we know. Kunal Chish, and taking time for us is really a big part of my day to not miss this class. We have had some speakers, we've had some dialect, and we've had a lot of great things to do and learn here. It's always good to see and talk to people who speak and understand Tlingit. Goodness Chish.
Goodness, geez. I'm wearing a vest here. When David Kingeste, my grandpa, Hanakwugut, when he walked away, and I'd like to say Tukte Wugut, he went way back. He didn't walk in the forest. That too, I don't really. So I didn't have any atu to wear because I was in Iowa, and they had me do the MC for my grandpa. So looked all over Des Moines, Iowa, trying to find a vest. So finally, I told my daughter, "Got to go to a cowboy store." It's supposed to be funny to find a vest because cowboys like to wear vests. But it was a nice vest. It's suede, and it's got buffalo buttons on there. I didn't notice that, but I. And so this yellow part here, and I'm not sure if you can see this here. And I drew these raven on top, but the design, the yellow on the side, that was from Clarissa's. When these people were making duplicates of her blanket, and they cut it up. And so I didn't want to just put it away and put it in I wanted to wear it on her because they to shame themselves by copying something that belonged to her. And so now this has history when I had it made for my grandpa David, because I didn't want to come out without anything. So finish other things on there and bring it out in a week. And then it can become, and put some money down on it, maybe $500,000. Then it becomes an atu, or doesn't really become an atu till I'm gone. Then one of my nephews or grandsons can maybe inherit it. So when they put it on, they'll become them, so I'll be living again. Anyway, that was just some of the beliefs our people had. And so, gonna cheese, George, let your dad know the t-shirt he gave me, POWs in Vietnam era soldiers, be not forgotten. I wore that gold medal. I was wondering, I was a team, I was on Juno team. Didn't play very much, but at least I played 2 minutes. So, but anyway, I sported that T-shirt he gave me when I was waiting to be called out. I just wanted to let you know so you could let your dad know.
Will do. I'll do that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, any more comments, questions?
I wanted to mention, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
About chocat blankets. My dad was tucked in town from Raven's Nest House. And he was head of the of his group. There was four of them: Pete Fawcett, John K. Smith, Johnny C. Johnson, and my dad. And when it was time for a party, they would get together. And it was not announced way ahead of time. They're going to show Chilkat blankets. That's going to show Chilkat blankets, yes. And John K. Smith, Pete Fawcett, Johnny C. Johnson. Anachtakas uach. You Astusha, you carved hats. Yes, I know. Take us to they didn't dance like people dance today. They just showing off the blanket, and others showed the as to shot away you saw tin. They're showing off the hats and the blankets.
Mhm.
So nowadays, these Chilkat blankets, people spin around, and I just it makes me kind of shiver because that's not the way I learned about Chilkat blankets was so valuable that when they showed it off, it was announced way ahead of time that they were going to show it. And that's the way we did it in Huna. Yeah. And it was very exciting to see those beautiful blankets. Some of them were really, really old. So I'm glad you mentioned that about the Chilkat blankets.
Cheese.
Yeah.
Donna took Dakotino when they see it.
Uh,
They would bring money out when they'd see it.
yeah.
It was an honor to see their grandparents' items at U.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they want us to do everything for free.
Yeah. Yeah. And just give you a few minutes to do
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, we are in Kautlini Krach, Shadahanik City, Austin Hammond, Donawaka, the Katatawe, Danak City, Nuchka, Yukatangi, Danak City. It's everything cost. Speaking cost money. Nowadays, they just want us to say something and see what we can say. It makes me feel funny when they ask me, like where I'm working, some of the people, they don't understand. Go tell the story to those kids over there. Yeah, you can't just tell a story. But that's how far we're from ourselves now. The younger generation don't understand.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has been lost. Sorry to say that, but
We're becoming extinct. Anybody else?
Ach tuasagui dai hakai achlein ganashish I hatangi ach stuga hatati
Isai.
aya hatu sauk skyda u Cleiclis le chachénach dúdí chatí.
You, you can. No cheese, can you. Thank you.
Sheesh.
That was nice to hear, and you can answer me back in Tlingit, you know. And so I miss my grandpa David. We used to talk Tlingit every day to each other. We'd text each other in Tlingit too. You can learn lots from that. But it's once you develop a relationship or friendship with someone, then you feel comfortable and you start using the Tlingit what you know, then you will develop and you both will grow, or you encourage each other. You say that and by helping each other maybe pronounce a word or things of that nature. You know, or the way my mother would do it, I would speak to her in Tlingit, and then whatever I said, she would say it in the right way. She knew what I was trying to say, and then she would say it in the right way and then answer me. And that was a way that she wasn't correcting me, but she was just showing me or letting me know this is the way you say it. She wouldn't say that. She would just say it the right way. That way I wasn't spotted that I was wrong. You know, we feel a little shame when we say, no, 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 that's not right. You know, we get kind of startles her and we kind of kick back. But yeah, gonna cheese anymore is, you know, and Tlingit, just for your understanding, if when someone doesn't answer what you were talking about, then that our words are just floating around in the air, and it maybe could be thought of that you weren't listening. Yekwe,
You should shaki atke that yisiku.
just yeku ke kawexiku. De kina takaha hidas.
Oh,
But I think you know, when we adapted things, we changed it to more flavor ourselves. And, but they were used for Gekute
yeah.
spirit songs.
Yeah, that's another one where they used to announce ahead of time that gonna dance in the Shakiyat.
Mm-hmm.
Then you expected for 3 or 4 men to be wearing the Shakiyat with the feathers side.
Any more? Uchakwa? How many left? There's only, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Somebody left. Yekwa? Ayana.
Jisachtua Sugui in Kachonigi, Gwanalchish, Haiti Latu, Atxati Atawa,
Sheesh. Wasa kwat ikwawuj adat when everybody's tunes out. Just wait for me.
Nikwati,
Uchakya?
Yeah, okay.
Gwanalchish, you was Tuyay Kwasatin. That's the end of our class at Kaudahit. We'll see you back here Tuesday, same time, same place. Tuyay Kwasatin.
Cheese.
Sheesh.
Glee yin quatch easton.
Gwanalchish, Kwati.
Yeah. In Kokowuch, you know, I was about the the honorarium. I don't know if you
Ah.
put it in there yet, or I had, what was it, 4 hours prep time? And
Mm-hmm.
1 hour in the class, 1 hour.
Okay.
When can,
And you mentioned that you're already in the payment system with TNH.
yeah,
Okay. So I'll send an email to Kachgun or Shell at TNH letting her know you had 4 hours of prep time and 1 hour of presentation for your compensation.
okay, okay.
Okay.
What's a kuge? What's a kuge?
Take handed ka Cajun Jin Kat Dana
Oh, okay. Goodness
Perk
cheese,
Dawu.
goodness
Uh
cheese. And if you had if you, we could make it possible if it was a person like to come in person, and to be able. I like to use Lingit when I'm speaking. I don't. It's not like I like to. It just happens.
okay.
And so if you guys had that kind of thing going, I could knowing ahead of time, I could possibly talk with people and make it work.
Okay.
And she
Fish.
happy because she,
Yay. Ach, toe ik in God's atra.
mm,
It's always hard to say goodbye, huh?
uh-huh.
So
Uh,
the ye team. That's why we don't say that.
Uh, assembly kind of called adek
You can. Way teenage General Assembly,